Hello, friends, back again real quick because I had a few things I wanted to talk about and I wanted to get them out there today 'cause it's going to be busy from now on. We got, shopping to do. We got the holidays and stuff coming up because, today is July 1st and in a few days it'll be July 4th, which is a big holiday for us here in the United States. Uh, a very, very beloved and cherished relative of mine, her name's Samantha. Love, love, love her and her wonderful husband, Joey. Wonderful people, love them very much. And they live up north, so I don't get to see them. I haven't seen them in quite a while. But Samantha reached out to me and asked me if I was going to do a video about the controversies and concerns revolving around fruits and vegetables and all of the price gouging. And I did at one point, I was going to put out a video about that, but I want to talk to you about this. And she's very right that these things need to be brought out and given attention to. And I went to review my notes that I had in place for a video about this topic. And I realized that, I was going to check out, there was links to videos and different things, and it just spiderwebbed. And by 8 o'clock last night, Douglas and I were horrified. One video leading to another video, to this video, to that video. And of course, in situations like that, when you're looking at online videos and getting your information from dictionaries and AI and news outlets and different things, you want to look for the common denominators. And I want to talk about the common denominators. So what we're seeing now, and FDA has approved it, it's legal, that companies, corporation stuff can sell GMO products. GMO stands for genetically modified organism. That organism is very important because that is a living thing. In this case, plants. But what's happening with these genetically modified organisms is they're turning up in our produce departments, in our grocery stores, as genetically modified foods. And we're going to see them in the forms of seedless grapes, seedless watermelons, seedless cucumbers, fruit that has unnaturally vibrant colors, fruits that are unnaturally large. And one of the biggest offenders is Driscoll's produce. Everybody knows Driscoll's. When you see their clear little boxes there with blueberries, strawberries, whatever. Driscoll's is located in California, and Driscoll's is distributing and selling genetically modified food. And this food, these berries in particular, are they're being mixed in with artificial produce. Artificial meaning blueberries that are literally made of rubber, plastic. Strawberries that are so gigantic, they're 3 and 4 times the size of a natural strawberry, and they're pale. Their color is off. Their flavor is disgusting. I've made videos before about hating fruit. Can't stand fruit. And I think part of that reason is that fruit tastes so horrible. It's sour, it's bitter, and one has to wonder why. Are they processing this fruit before it's at its ripeness? Of course they are, because they have to get it to the shelves before it spoils. So they have to get it to the shelves while it's still unripe. But we're seeing videos about food that is becoming a real serious safety concern. And blueberries and strawberries that are 3 and 4 times their natural size. They taste bitter. You can't even bite into them. There is a report of a little girl who went to her dad and said that there were numbers on her blueberries, and sure as shit, there were numbers, and he couldn't. The blueberry wasn't even a blueberry; it was a plastine, like ball. There was a woman online who went to peel a banana and she could tie it in a knot, literally like Gumby. If you're old enough, I'm dating myself, old enough to know who Gumby is. It just rubber out and it wouldn't break. And another woman who was flopping watermelon around, it was like rubber, same thing, it wouldn't break. Avocados that you can't even penetrate with a fork or a knife. It's rock hard, like it's hard plastic. This is the result of lax policies by the federal government to protect and keep our food safe. Now, the FDA's defense is that little bits of plastic aren't going to, kill you. Powdered cellulose, to a certain degree, isn't going to hurt you. Oopsie, Driscoll's got the plastic berries in by mistake. Someone did a DNA test on a blueberry and a blueberry muffin, and it had no blueberry in it. It wasn't even an organic product. It was a plastic. We are paying for fake food. We are paying for food that could be lethal. Powdered cellulose is used in absolutely everything. Powdered cellulose is wood pulp. It's the same thing that's used to make cardboard boxes for fast food and other things. It is wood pulp. And it is in our breads and our baked goods. It's in dairy products such as yogurts. It's used in fake cheeses such as the spaghetti cheeses, the shaker cheese. Douglas calls it stinky cheese. And the feds say, well, a little bit of it isn't going to hurt you. But put this into context here. A little bit of powdered cellulose, when you sprinkle a little bit of stinky cheese, shaker cheese onto your spaghetti. But what if that sandwich you had for lunch is full of powdered cellulose? What if the spaghetti pasta that you're using is full of powdered cellulose? What if your breakfast cereal is full of powdered cellulose? A little bit might not harm you, but what if over time, what if in a single day, what if over time you're ingesting so much of it that it kills you? Because things that we should not be eating can kill you in many ways, primarily carcinogens, which cause cancer. Driscoll's Farms, located in California, that community where Driscoll's Farms is located has one of the highest childhood cancer rates in the world. In 1 year alone, more children died of cancer in that community where Driscoll's is located than anywhere else in the U.S. in that single year. And videographers have gone in and videotaped and filmed Driscoll's Farms and others. And they're spraying chemicals to preserve the fruit and vegetables that they're growing. But these farmers are in full hazmat gear. Full hazmat gear. Now, if the thing that you're spraying is safe, why do you need hazmat gear? And there are many, many videos of this by all different videographers, all different documentarians since 2017. This is not new. The only way that we can fight this is through legislation. But until legislation can be brought to the floor, to be legislated, and to change these abhorrent, deadly practices that are being ignored because of the money that Walmart and all these gazillionaires are bringing in, the FDA is turning they're turning a blind eye because it's cheaper and you can feed the masses cheaply. Until then, we have to be savvy consumers. So when you are in the grocery store, I know that seedless is convenient, but it's genetically modified. If you can go organic, go organic. But I understand that organic can be very expensive. But please keep in mind that the really good, expensive products last longer because they satiate you more, so you eat less, you need less, so you buy less. So if you're paying a little more for a chunk of Parmesan Reggiano from the deli instead of the $2 shaker cheese, you're going to get more use out of that Parmesan chunk than you are that shaker cheese. And it's healthier for you. The health benefits are immeasurable. Be mindful, read labels, read labels. And there's an app I'm trying to get a hold of. I just can't find it in the Play Store because I can't find the right name for it, but it's an exposure app. And what it is you go around and you turn it on, and like the barcode thing, it'll grab the ingredient list from a product and tell you what's in it and break it down in layman's terms and say, hey, this is pretty deadly. This has a carcinogen or something. We have to educate ourselves more on the labels. And we have to educate ourselves more on what is reasonable. Going back to powdered cellulose. A little bit might not kill you. Even Folgers, Maxwell House, they're all guilty of putting sand, twigs and branches, powdered cellulose, and God knows what else, and grinding it up into coffee and saying, this is coffee, when it's not. And that stuff is $21 a can here in the great state of Minnesota right now. And I'm not happy thinking that I'm paying for sand and twigs and branches. So when it comes to coffee, you look for single source, non-GMO, fair trade. Those are things you look for. Get whole beans. Because when you have whole beans, they are expensive, but they will last much longer because the coffee is richer and more robust. So you use a little less of it than you would with the ground up coffee. And you know that you're not getting twigs and branches, because if you pulled out the coffee beans and saw a twig and a branch, you'd throw it away. It wouldn't, you wouldn't get there. But you look for on your coffee, for example, and other things, fair trade, single sourced, organic, certified organic. Same thing with olive oil. Apparently, the mob it's a big industry. Olive oil counterfeiting is a huge industry for the mob. I'm not surprised, but I am surprised. And most of the olive oil that you see on the shelves, especially at larger supermarket chains and stuff, is actually a combination of nut oils, vegetable oils, and maybe a little splash of olive oil. But they're not true pure olive oil. Pure extra virgin olive oil is going to be in dark containers to preserve it. And it's going to say single sourced. So that's, if you do olive oil. And they're allowed to sell this stuff as olive oil, because if it's got a little percentage of olive oil, then they can say it's olive oil. They can say olive oil blend. They can say um, cooking olive oil. I have a bottle that says cooking olive oil, and it turns out that it's a combination of many different types of oils, seed oils, nut oils, vegetable oils, etc., along with a little splash of olive oil, and it's a combined product. And they're not claiming that it's pure, unfiltered, raw, virgin olive oil. Speaking of raw, honey. Make sure it says non-GMO. Make sure it says raw. Make sure it says organic. Make sure it says single source. Single sourced is an important thing, not just non-GMO, not just organic, but looking for single sourced on a lot of items is important because that tells you that it came from one farm, from one olive producer, from one honey farm or one beehive, and that it's not a mixture of other things. Like pancake syrup, we know is corn syrup that's got coloring in it and a little flavoring in it, but it's not real maple syrup. Unless it says that it's certified real maple syrup, it's not. It is a syrup blend or a topping. And you have to read those words very, very, very carefully. And if you want to have blueberry Captain Crunch syrup on your pancakes, go ahead. That's your thing. But you know what you're getting into. So the biggest concern for me is the fruit and the produce because we don't know what's in that package until we buy it. But we have to examine those products further. Try to avoid Driscoll's if you can, because there was even a talk show host who had there was some kind of an event like a TED Talk or a talk show host where the CEO of Driscoll's was sitting down in front of a live audience and was forced to eat his own blueberries. And he couldn't do it. And he put a blueberry in his mouth and he was like chewing on it and he winced. And he's like, no, I can't do this. He couldn't eat his own product. What does that tell you? Tells me a lot. Maybe plausible deniability. Maybe he was ignorant to what was going on. Maybe he was misled about what was going on. Maybe he genuinely didn't know, or he knew and he didn't give a shit. But even in the produce department, yeah, you may pay a little more for organic bananas. And you might run the risk of having spiders in them or whatever because they're not, processed. But, and carrots. I want to talk to you about carrots because when you buy carrot nubs, those pre-nubbed ones or the shreds or the carrot chips, those little flat carrots, those things they're cut and they're washed, but they're washed with bleach, chlorine bleach. When you get vegetables that say they've been cleaned and washed, unless it's organic, it's been cleaned and washed and processed with bleach. And if the bleach takes the flavor or the color out, they're going to add it back in by way of artificial means. And now you've got chemicals in your carrots. I don't know about you, but I like to, reserve my chlorine bleach for laundry and cleaning, not my vegetables. But if you do need something to clean your vegetables with, I use Clean Boss E-Cleaner. It's the best one on the market. You can get 2 bottles for the price of 1. It lasts forever, and it does a spectacular job. I even did the broccoli test. If you've seen the commercial where they've got the heads of broccoli, and they put water on one, and it just goes around the broccoli, and then they spray it with the Clean Boss E-Cleaner, and the water goes through it. That absolutely happened to me. And there is a lot of wax and stuff that the FDA allows on your fruits to keep them fresh, but to also preserve the color so that as it starts to degrade on the shelf, it doesn't lose its luster so that you think it looks really pretty and shiny and fresh when it might be a week old or something like that. So there's a lot of education out there, a lot of things that we can do. We can shop slower. We can shop more diligently. If you have to, Find a sitter for your kids and go shopping by yourselves. Adult only shopping is important because when kids are there, they influence your choices. They also distract you from the important mission of reading those labels and studying that food that you're picking up. So read those labels, make sure it says non-GMO. Depending on the product, make sure it says single sourced, fair trade, non-GMO, certified organic. Do what you got to do. And we'll expand on this in some other videos, but I got to go right now because you know what? I got a ball and chain job calling me and I got to go to a meeting. So be careful when you go to the stores. Look at things differently. We'll talk about canned foods here too, and we're going to talk about other issues as well. But right now, primarily the produce, coffee, bread. If you take a slice of bread from your loaf, put it under some hot water. If it disintegrates into nothing, that's good bread. Okay, that's what bread should be. Flour, water, salt, and yeast. That's it. If it stays whole and expands back like a sponge, you're eating something really dangerous and you should throw that loaf away and never buy that again. And until next time, do good and be good.